Page 15, airmail. At the top of the page, they're talking about a little bit about phrases. A phrase, simply put, is a musical sentence. We talk in sentences. We write in sentences. Well, music is in sentences too. It's like a musical phrase is a musical thought. I mean, you can have little short musical thoughts. That's called a motif. But when you put a bunch of these together, then you get a sentence. So a motif would be like a word, and you put a bunch of these in there, you get a sentence. And if you have any luck at all, it makes sense. Well, in this piece, they've chosen to introduce phrasing. I have a little problem with that, but let's go with it. You see, the slur, the tie, and the phrase are all the same symbol. You already know what a tie is. It's between two notes on the same pitch, where you play the first note and you just hang on to it for the length of both notes. They tie them together. That's a tie. It's a curved line, above or below. It doesn't matter. It's a curved line. Well, a slur is a curved line above or below, but now the notes are different. For instance, on page 14, back over there, we have all these slurs in the right hand. For the half notes, look at the second measure there. It's here. That's a slur. You connect the notes. You play them legato as you can. It actually means slightly different things on different instruments. I won't get into it. We're just talking piano here. Now don't get confused with this curved line for triplets, because if you look on page 14, they have, on each triplet, they have a little curved line. That's not a slur, it's not a tie, it's not a fret, nothing. That's just a part of the triplet symbol, and some publishers include that curved line for triplets, and some don't. Some will just give you the 3, that's it. In this book, they're giving you the curved line and the 3, but don't confuse that curved line with anything else. That's strictly for a triplet. A phrase, the sentence is usually a long one. And what they're referring to here is like the first measure, where you have that over several notes. Play them legato. Here. They're calling that a phrase. I have a real problem with that, because that's not exactly a musical sentence. To me, the way they're using it in airmail, that's just a slur. You're just connecting the notes. So to me, the whole first line is a phrase. Even though it doesn't have a slur over it, because there's staccatos in it, it's a sentence. It's a musical sentence. It's a thought. So I would do that. Then the next line, again, is a whole musical statement, a thought. Etc. And in this piece, it just works out that each line seems to be one musical sentence. It's not the way it normally works. I mean, a musical sentence can be whoever. I mean, however long. That's not the point. I would hold off on the phrasing thing until a later time, and I'll explain that a little more. I would treat these things in this piece more like slurs. Just connect them. And then you have the staccato, just a little finger staccato. You see the tenuto line, or the tenuto in the second measure on the half note? Hang on to that. Some people will play that as an accent. I don't. I just hang on to it. It's a tenuto. You stretch it out as long as you can. Don't cut it short. At the beginning of this, and each time I get this phrase, I tend to want to play this with fourth finger. I can play the first two measures in one hand position here. So I tend to do that. And then come down to this position. So I may finger it that way. You can finger it the way they're shown in the book, or finger it starting in this position with fourth finger. Now there is some trickiness going on in this piece. I want to point it out. Watch the fingering very carefully. It may not be what you think it is. In the right hand, Starting out okay. Then you're going to reach the thumb down to get the half note. It's fine. You bring the hand down, third finger on the E for the third measure. And the thumb on the last note of the first line. So watch the fingering carefully because you're not in a 5-finger position. You're moving around a little bit. Second line, third measure. Make sure it's a fourth finger on that E. And the thumb on the last one. The last two lines are very similar to the first two lines, so just watch the fingering carefully. And the left hand fingering again is tricky because you're starting out here with an E up here. Yes, that's an E. And then second finger, you got to bring the little finger down to the G because it's not in the position. And then when you do that, for the next note, you want a thumb on a C. So now you got to scrunch your hand in here. And then reach out again for the low E. Then in the next line you got to reach back up to the E up here. There's no rest between this G, the last note in the first line, and the first note in the second line. There's no rest in there. So you reach up. And then you can bring the hand up. For the last two lines, the left hand gets these chords with an accent. Just give it a little extra oomph. We still need the right hand to be louder than the left. The right hand has the melodies. That's what we want to hear. Of course, there's a forte there, and that means loud, and that's to the melody. The melody's loud. I don't know how loud. You'll have to decide how loud is. It says it's allegro. Allegro is fast. Again, you have to decide how fast it is because they're not giving you any metronome stuff here. Some metronomes have the ranges on the metronome itself to tell you about where these things are. It's an opinion. How fast do you think it goes? First off, you never play it faster than you can control and you can play accurately. So when you're learning it, you got to play it slowly. And when we do the play with me, I'm going to do it slowly. But then eventually you're going to want to speed it up to actually play the thing and have some fun with it. So I think how fast I've been playing it here is about how fast I would play it. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Something about that. So 4/4 time I'll give us 4 counts. Go ahead and put your hands where they go. In here. One, two, ready, and go, and.